Welcome, guys. My name is Odion Sigwe Emike, and this is the HR Headroom podcast powered by Certification Edge. Now, like I always say every episode, this is your safe place for anything HR experience, your insights, your knowledge. This is our space, guys. Now, we always bring you the best of the best. And one of those best today is Miss Seyi Adeyemi, SPHRi. Miss Seyi, welcome to the show. Welcome to your show. All right. Now let's get right into it because I'm sure you're ready. There's a lot of knowledge. So today we're going to be talking about unleashing potential through performance management. Now this is a big topic for every HR professional. We always want to make sure that we're able to monitor the work that the employees are doing that so that it aligns with the organizational goals, and that's very big for us. If not, you will have maybe an employee working 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and later you come and you've really not done anything, right? Because you haven't been doing it according to the goals, right? So today I just first off to just talk about performance management with employees. Are there certain biases when we are managing employees? Are there certain things that we just sort of we're not getting right?
Definitely. I almost screamed yes right in the middle of the question because it is normal. Again, there's bias in every aspect of life, basically.
Right.
But yes, definitely. And it cuts across so many, I'll give you an example. Say, for example, we have managers that, I've somewhat kind of used to fall into the category that if I'm, scoring you, you can never get 100.
Okay.
Do you get me? The highest I can give you, do you understand? And then you have some people that they just don't know how to score you high.
Right.
Do you understand? You have that as bias as well. You have that, and again, we're human beings. Someone can do something fantastic today, and guess what? If, say, for example, your performance is supposed to cut across, review is supposed to cut across a quarter, and the person has been doing so bad, first month rubbish, second month rubbish, third month, wow, do you understand?
Right.
And that wow might not, but can just be on one, but you are not able to remember the two.
I think that's called recency.
Yes, that's recency. Fantastic. That's recency.
Right.
And the person can do something bad, same things. And the other one is, I think, leniency, or we also have the halo one,
Yes, the horn one, primacy.
Yes, do you understand? And then we have the ones that, what do we have in common? This is my guy, my person be this, taking my point, and then you're being biased due to relationship or from the same place, we speak same language, I don't want this person going down and whatnot. So that's a standard. It's normal.
So if you wanted to fix that, because I don't know, I've just always felt we're humans. Right? There's some things that we can't help. I'm going to like who I like. I'm going to prefer some employees. It's not my fault.
We're humans.
We're just humans. So as a HR professional, how do you make sure that you remain fair? Through, with every employee, in every review, every time. How do you ensure that?
The rule of the game for me is ensuring that you're developing performance that you can track properly. It has to be smart. The SMART rule.
Right.
You have to be able to, say for example, for sales target, you have to be able to have sold 100 cups. That is very, very direct. So someone can sell 20 and you are scoring the person high.
Because he's nice.
Do you get my point? And someone can't sell the 100 or even go above and say because you don't like the person, score the person low. It is clear. It is direct. Do you get my point? So you have to make sure you're developing performance or KPIs that are smart.
All right.
Do you understand that we can't review, we can't evaluate? You have to make sure you create criteria. Your evaluation criteria are clear.
Right.
Clearly communicated. But again, you have to be able to measure it. It has to be measurable.
Right.
If you can't measure it, then there are other things we can add. Say for example, doing your appraisal, make sure you're looking at other people's work to kind of cross-check. You can also do the 361 whereby feedback all around, so it's not one person anymore. It's not in the hand of one person, it's not in the hand of your manager. There's one thing that I've also thought that makes sense is during performance reviews. Yes, communication is important in the sense
Yes.
that even when that is done and you have a go back and forth,
Right.
you have to make sure, even if it's a two-way, me, I do mine, I move it to my manager, let's say you.
Okay.
It shouldn't stop at your point. Do you understand? You have to be able to sit me down and say, you know what, this is what I feel about what you've done. And I will have to sign off that I agree with you. Not a case of, oh, what my manager has said. No, my manager has said this is what I say. Okay, so let's
compare
discuss exactly. This is why I think I've done. No, this is why I think you haven't done. And then we come to an agreement, and then we co-signed and we're agreed. That
Right.
means you haven't just agreed. I have agreed with the things you've said as well,
Right.
and you've agreed with things I've said. Do you understand? So there's so many ways, but basically is making sure that it's not stopping on one person's table. One.
Right.
Number two, your criteria for evaluation has to be very clear and measurable. You can tie so many things under all of this, but the two things that are important, it has to be measurable and it has to be clear.
Clear.
And it has to be
Right.
constant communication with guys as well.
I think why I'm absolutely, I absolutely agree with what you're saying is because sometimes you find that, you're evaluating your employee doesn't know what you're talking about. Like, how are you measuring me against something I'm not aware of? Right? You should
Yeah.
have done this, you weren't in communication with this person, and the employee's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how now? It's like, who did you tell?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that the employee himself is even involved
Yeah.
in his own
That's it.
performance.
Yeah.
I think there's something in one of the courses, I think SPHRi, where they say that while you're doing your review or your appraisal with your employee, the employee should be talking more
Yeah.
than you.
Yeah.
Right? Because they know what they've done.
Yeah,
They
they
may
do.
not have documented it
Today.
as well as you would, but they know what they've done, and it's up to you, both of you to compare notes. So that was
Yeah.
pretty good for me.
Yeah, it's. I always say that you can't develop KPIs, you can't develop goals in absence of the person you're expecting to do the thing.
Right.
You're telling me you're expecting me to do something, but you're developing that in isolation, and then you score me on what I have no clue about.
Right.
So and another thing though is, and this is why I'm always hell bent on communication, and that's my role. I feel like, aside speaking and having conversations with these guys,
Right.
or maybe during that, there's so many things you can pick from that. There's so many things you can pick from having regular conversations with your
Regular
guys.
feedback.
I try not to call it feedback, because sometimes when you pick a word to it,
Okay.
they are coming with terminations to come and defend.
Oh, I see. Like soldiers, they're just prepped.
Prep,
For
no.
war.
Do you understand? Let's have a chat. Do you
Okay.
get my point? Let's have a chat. How's it going? How's work been?
Okay.
I've realized that I'm noticing this, that. They are not able to come with a blow. Do you understand? Ready to come and say, no, I've been. No, they're like, even at that moment, they're able to come out completely if they're having issues and challenges.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You're able to actually pick where you can help. That's where we can even know, okay, it's not about your target. It's not about the goal and at the end of the day,
Right.
what you get. It's in that process, you can tell where the person needs help. The rule of the game for me, for example, when I employ new people, I don't, well, yes, you have probationary period. For me, probationary period, yes, we know that probationary period rule is for you to show us you can do the job.
Yeah.
But I don't do that.
Ah.
Oh no, that's
That's
by
new.
the side. No, because that's
Okay.
by the side. Especially what is going on now. You see that getting people is tough. So I'm not going to hire somebody, I'm saying, show me you can do the job.
No.
That is one side. But from day one to the end of your probation,
Right.
how can I help you be better at that job?
Whoa.
That's it for me.
Okay.
So I have immediately come from day one, the next week, 1 week, I have a conversation with you.
Right.
Do you need help? Is there a root shock that you need help with? Let me know. So you don't get to probation and I'm kicking you out. Do you understand?
So from the very beginning,
let
set
me
out.
let me help you out.
expectations,
If I need to put stuff in, I would do it. After 1 week, I do a 1 month
Yeah. Okay.
again to say, you know what? Okay, you've settled in some kind of way.
Right.
Are you sure you are picking it? Because sometimes you feel you can do something when you get in
When
there.
you get
It's a
there.
totally different ball game, because the organization's process is different from what you're used to.
Right.
And because you feel the need to show what you can do, you start to fall back and fail. So my rule now is not what it used to be for that. I would, after my 1 month, and then I have regular pop-up. What's going on? Tell me.
Pop-up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
What's going on? Tell me.
Okay.
And they get comfortable now that before the month comes or before they come to my office, HR, I need help here quickly. Identify, let's quickly do this, identify trainings, call your line manager, this is what's going on. And so it's, I think performance management now is not the review at the end. It's
annual reviews. Yeah.
It's as the person steps into the organization. You start to manage it.
That's something to learn, actually, because I think there are still organizations that are very, I guess everyone should do it, but are very strict on everybody knows the appraisal date, and everybody's heart is beating, right? We've moved on. And that's why you have that, and then you try to have your performance review quarterly. And the rule is, I tell my guys that please, performance review is not to skin you, it's to know where you need help. As if we're some sort of judge.
Exactly. Know where you need help. Now, if I've helped you first quarter, second quarter, okay.
And we know it's you.
Then we know it's you. You get my point. So, so yeah.
Okay, great. Now that we've talked about that, I'm just now curious about the strategies that you would recommend, especially when it comes to how we want the employees to sort of stretch to their potential. Right? Apart from, of course, we know that
ego.
It's important. Money nobody should be doing work if they're not paying you, leave, right? But what else? What strategies do we put in place just to ensure that it's more than money?
Okay, I'll still go back to the money. But it's not always about the money.
Okay,
it's recognition, it's rewards, it's but we can also develop stretch goals. In developing goals and KPIs for guys,
right,
we can encourage them to stretch themselves.
How so?
Let them go above and beyond. But you have to realize that for you to encourage them to stretch themselves, there has to be something to win or enjoy at the end of that stretch.
Okay.
So you are still going to always piggyback to rewards or recognition.
Right.
There's now why you have that as your piggy bank, there are other things you can do, which is again do stretch goals.
Right.
We have pay for performance. Do you understand?
If you meet this target, this is what you get.
It's what you get.
Okay.
Do you understand? It does not stop your job because you're paid to do something.
Yes.
Right. But the moment you can stretch yourself. But we also need to know, and this is one thing that is important for managers, right? Is when they're setting stretch goals, if they do not achieve it, they have not failed.
Can you help me tell?
It is called stretch goals, meaning going above their own capacity that they know.
That's good.
So if they have met the capacity, they have passed. Stretch goal is not for you to fail them if they haven't gotten there.
Right.
It's for you to identify how you can help.
Right.
It's for you to identify how they can grow. It's for you to identify what needs to be done.
Right.
So it's not, you can't tie it to a sales target. No. So please, and we get carried away. It's not intentional. We get carried away. You have stretch goals. You didn't meet it. Please remember.
And it's a stretch.
It's a stretch goal.
It's a stretch.
So in developing that, you have to know that this is the standard. This is the stretch. We have to be able to be clear on that communication, so that when you meet the standard, the person has done very, very well.
Right.
Do you understand? And the stretch is going above and beyond. So we can't tie that. And that also applies to pay for performance, right? Pay for performance does not mean that you stop at your capacity. Your capacity is what you're paid for.
Yeah.
But for doing more is where you are getting incentives for. And that's why it's important that, and one thing that again is very important is you have to have clear criteria tied to your rewards.
Okay.
say for example, it is when you get 10, you get 2 from us. If you are not clear, if you don't have a clear process, you have not given them encouragement, and that's where you have issues with trust. If you are not clear and say, okay, when you do this, we'll sort you out, we'll give you something.
Right.
We give you something, it's not going to work.
It has to be, what are you going to give me?
You have to be clear before I get there. Because guess what? We human beings, when we get there and then we just give them something, and if they're not happy about it, you're not going to get a stretch goal from them next time.
Yeah, true.
So you have to make sure that it is clear. You have to be exact. This is what I'm going to give you if you do this. This is what you're going to get if you do this.
Right.
Yeah. And again, like I said, it's not necessarily about money. Some guys just want a pat on the back. Some guys just want to say good job. Not you can do better. It's not always you can do better. I'm an African, I have 2 kids, so I will easily I even at home I try not to. I tell my daughter when she comes, Mommy, I got I'm sorry, on Sunday she said, I did this exam in church on Sunday and I got 9.5 over 10. I'm sorry, Mommy. Girl, you did too much. Anyway, but back to what it is. We have just to be clear. Expectation has to be clear. This is what you get when you do this.
Right.
So when you're doing stretch goals, again, make sure you are not moving past the fact that stretch is stretch goals.
Right.
Encourage it. Study what needs to be done in terms of is it help, is the person meeting and going above and beyond. So basically, so that's it. Every other thing can fall under that. Under the incentives, you have pay for performance, again, like I said, stretch goals. But again, you can only sustain these things if your incentives, your recognition, your rewards, whatever, really does happen. It breeds trust.
And that's so important. Trust.
If you want people to be efficient, if you don't want toxic, you want trust.
You have to trust.
You have to trust, and trust is in communication. You don't know what's in my mind, but I'm having some sort of feeling. You will not trust it, do you understand? But if I tell you clearly, this is this, A is B, and not just, please, again, not just have it in communication and clear, do it. Meaning, if you bring A, you get B. When they bring A, give them B. When they bring A, don't give them A plus.
Right.
You said you will give B. Please give B. If you have to go and beg for the money outside because the company doesn't have it, please give B.
Right.
Or else you will not get them there. So apart from having that process, having the strategies, you can build strategy from now to next year. If you don't follow through, if you don't back it up with action, it's just words.
And while we're talking about this, right, I'm just remembering, a couple of things. When you're talking about the relationships that you have with your employees, there are certain things that you want to make sure are always there. One, of course, is the productivity.
Yep.
The second is their motivation.
Yes.
And their morale.
Yes.
Knowing that when I do my work, it's my work, I'm going to get rewarded for it. The trust that they have that when I'm going to do my work, right? Like you said, if I do A, I'm going to get B. If I didn't get B, it means I didn't do A. Let it just be clear. And it boosts motivation in such a way that you wouldn't even expect.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And even apart from that, I think something else I've gotten is that for employees, right, you want to make sure, if you're a HR manager, like, I just got it. I hope it makes sense. You help me vet it because you're SPHRi. So, if my employee is not, maybe when he's leaving, it's not better than when he came. After I have managed over time, every month, every week, every time, after I have managed the performance, he's not leaving better, then we haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's very accurate, and that also kind of comes out from how people are managed in the organization. Another thing that is important that we also really identify is a lot of this weight is not only on HR, it's on managers. And that is where we're having issues across almost all sectors and organizations, is that managers don't realize that a lot of this role is not HR anymore.
Right.
It's not HR in isolation. Because guess what? I can sit with the person and say, how's your performance? I can see that you did it. I don't know what the person does. Because I'm not involved.
Yeah.
I understand it. For example, you have a visual design. If I put all the systems in front of me, I can't use CorelDRAW.
I know how it's supposed to look like.
I know it's supposed to look like. And even at that, you necessarily might not know how to. I mean, it might look nice to you,
Right.
but there are certain things that, that are at the background of that design. Does it go with the target market?
Right.
Is it the message of the brand or whatnot? Do you get me?
Right.
I can't say that, but your line manager can.
Can.
So a lot of these things, a lot of the regular conversation has to do with the line manager and HR, but line manager most importantly. And that is why our job now is to keep encouraging, keep pushing line managers to get this thing done, requesting for, feedback from this, requesting for report on this, sitting in all of these conversations where
Right.
is necessary. And the ones that needs to be with managers alone, please have that sorted out. But we need to ensure it happens. It's we're no more holding the hands of every employee.
Yeah.
But we're holding the hands of managers for managers to hold the hands of employees. So
I'm humbled because I just feel like there's too much to learn. I'm getting there, everyone. Very soon.
yeah, you would
Very
go
soon
you
when
would
I'm
go past.
speaking my own truths and everything. Everybody will go like,
You would go past.
okay. So now I think my next question is going to be, we've talked about all of this,
Yeah.
right? Now individuals come to the organization
Yeah.
with expecting something,
Yeah.
especially if it's an organization they've always wanted to work with. They've gone through all their interviews and everything. You know how tedious it can be. Gone through all of that. You finally got the job. You put it on your LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Everybody knows now that you're working at ABC.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, you don't want to be the one to dull their shine. How, as a HR manager, right? Do you strategize this performance management strategies
Yeah.
to be able to tailor them towards the employees' needs, the individual's needs? How do you do that?
Okay. I've done a bit of preview on this in what I've said,
Said,
but I need to make certain things very clear. We don't let me say that. For me, doing recruitment, that's one thing that I feel like is important.
Straight from recruitment.
Yes. If your goals for your life can't grow in this organization, I will not hire you. I wouldn't. You might want the job, I will not give it to you.
I'm very sage.
Because you would waste my time. You would take my time. You would take the time of your managers. Because you would burn out at some point.
Right.
Because you'll be like, it's not even in line with what I'm trying to do with my life. What am I doing here? Now, yes, I know that there are chances that some people can get in there and change and like, okay, I don't mind this. But we will get the inclination in the interview.
Interviews.
I'll give you an example. Of recent, I had an interview with someone. And where she is in her space, if she comes to work with us, it will be fantastic.
Okay.
We'll connect. In fact, she would be exposed bigger than she even hopes and in line with her plan for her life. But the fact that she couldn't answer that question and realize it, I wouldn't.
She wasn't aware.
She wasn't aware. If you're not aware, I can't. One thing that is important for recruitment is curiosity. The person has to be curious.
Ooh.
Sometimes the person might not even know what they're doing,
Okay.
but the person is curious to want to know.
Yeah.
So if I cannot sense curiosity, so even for someone that is not even in line, but if I sense curiosity, okay, I can work with it. That way, because if you bring people that don't want to be there, Because don't forget, we look for jobs for so many reasons. Let us be realistic here.
Yeah.
It's not all the time we're looking for a job for our future. It's for our today need.
True.
I don't have money. I need to pay rent. I need to do this. Do you understand? I need to live. I need to be alive. Do you get my point? So it's not all the time. So for me, it might be strange, but I'm in a space whereby, again, you know the challenge we have in terms of recruitment, hiring people. So I don't want anybody that will come, use 6 months and go.
Can we avoid that?
No, so that is why, if I can't sense that you're curious, if I can't sense that where you're coming to is going to bless you and you're going to bless us, do you get my point?
Right.
We're going to, it will be beautiful. Then there's no need. So let's start from the beginning. Now, when you come on board, and that's why I said to you, I have regular conversations with them, week 1, month 1. The conversation is not just about the performance.
Okay.
It's that, are you liking this?
Right.
I ask that. Is there, of recent, some of the guys I did 1 month conversation with, the girl said, well, I said, is there anything new here compared to where you're coming from? She said, yeah, well, she realized that it's a bit rigid, the process.
Right.
And I said to her, makes sense. Do you have ideas? Yes. Share it with your direct line manager. But don't see it as being rigid. See it as a process.
Right.
That you're able to. There's a reason, exactly. Now I've had a random pop-up conversation with her. She's fantastic. You see that thing that she thought was rigid? Oh, she likes it because she knows what to do. The steps are there. Pump in her sleep. She can get the job done.
Right.
But in the past that she's, where she's used to. Do you get my point? So if I'm having random conversations, I'm coming to you to say, how is this, in line with what? Because don't let us forget, we are for the business, but we're also for the people.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So my conversations, my regular talks, even for their stretch goals. The stretch goals is not going to just be stretch goals to... You do realize that stretch goals could just be that they tell you in the next quarter, I'll be trained to do this. And you're able to say, okay, have you done it? Where are you? Where are you now? So stretch goals doesn't always have to be sales targets for the organization. Stretch goals can be development of the person that in turn will benefit the business. Exactly. Will benefit the business and then grow the person.
Yeah.
Do you get my point? So there are so many ways this can go. As long as we're having, again, my rule, communication. Because if you do not know, you cannot incorporate it. If you don't know, you are just talking. Yeah, you won't even be saying much. Do you get my point? So imagine me, I know where you're trying to be from your first day here.
Right.
I know where you're going. And I know it's in line with what we're trying to do as a business.
Right.
Of late, or recent, sorry, I've had to do like retention strategy.
Okay.
And I had to have conversations with the guys that we know we don't want to lose and say, how can we be of help? It's not all of them that is money. Some of them, they have business that they are running.
Right.
That guess what? We can outsource some jobs to.
So that's really communication. Like you keep on saying.
So the person is working here. The person has his own company. We get a job. I can give the person the person's company the job to do, and it doesn't affect the person's work. Because the person has told you in the next 3, 4, 5 years, I want this company that I run to grow. No problem. We'll help you grow. As long as it's in line. Already you have come on board to be in line with what we are doing.
Right.
Oh, no problem. Let us invest. Let it come. Let it be under our roof. There's so many things that can be done. See, it's endless. But you can't know if you don't communicate. But you have to have the mind.
You have to have the mind.
You have to have the mind for it. So.
I want to sit here and just have this conversation for a bit because, like I said, I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
I was humbled. It's been so wonderful, and you take on this tone where you just sound like a sage. So, well, of course, we always have people that are sages here. Like I tell you, we always bring you. I will keep saying it every episode. The best of the best. Thank you for listening in. And make sure you watch the next episode. There's going to be too much for you to learn. Have a good day.